Hi, I'm Francis Glenn, and I'm the breeder of the leafy corn silage varieties that are in the marketplace today. In this presentation, I want to tell you why I think Leafy is the best choice for dairy producers for the production of corn silage to feed to their dairy cattle. Leafy hybrids have been developed exclusively for silage. They are the result of my years of experience of looking at corn plants, talking to nutritionists, and talking to dairy producers about what the corn silage crop has to do in a balanced ration. Every aspect of the plant architecture of Leafy seeks to meet the needs of the dairy farmer and the reliable production of high-quality milk. So what does a dairy producer need from a silage variety? Well, first off, he needs economic value from the milk and the meat over the total feed costs. The plant, as an energy source for milk production, needs to have high total plant harvested yield. It needs to have high total plant digestibility. The grower wants a certain level of crop security in terms of agronomy, and that would be roots and stalks and the ability to stand until harvest. He would profit from a long silage harvest window, and he would probably like to feed that product shortly after harvest. So what should a corn breeder be looking for breeding for silage and milk production? Well, corn has a really broad genetic base for breeders to select from. Kernels can range from soft and flowery to semi-flowery dent to hard and vitreous. Kernels can dry quickly or slowly. The ear height can be shifted up and down, and the stalks can range in strength from being adequate till silage harvest time till being strong enough for delayed harvest as you need it for grain. Silage corn breeders can work with this range of characteristics to create hybrids that are most suitable for use as silage. Leafies are named after the leafy gene that produces a distinctive plant with 8 or more leaves above the top ear. So normal grain varieties have at the maximum 7 leaves above the top ear. But the benefits of growing and feeding a leafy hybrid only begin with these extra leaves. Leafies have silage-appropriate agronomics. They are high-yielding with a balance of effective and digestible fiber and have the grain content and starch digestibility that is needed to produce high milk yield. Leafies have higher total plant yield. The leafy's extra leaves increase the leaf area index of the plant, allowing for a higher rate of sugar production that is converted to starch. Think of solar collectors. The more leaves you have above the ear, the more energy you can collect and store in the kernels. Leafies also have very large flex ears, and the plant's extra leaves help those flex ears to develop and fill the kernels. Extra leaves also increase tonnage. A leafy crop stands taller and fuller than a non-leafy hybrid that is planted at the same location. Leafies have higher total plant digestibility, and that's composed of a higher level of fiber digestibility in the stalk and a higher level of starch digestibility from the components of the ear. Let's look at the stalk first. Leafies have been selected to have stalks that are composed of an appropriate balance of effective and digestible fiber for the silage ration. When examining the digestibility of the corn stalk, we know that the stalk below the ear consists of more non-digestible, heavily lignified fiber that is needed to support the weight of the ear and the rest of the plant. Leafy hybrids have been selected to have a lower ear position on the plant to reduce the amount of overall plant lignin and to increase the digestible fiber found above the ear. The total stalk is strong enough to reach silage maturity.
So this is an example of a much more desirable plant type. This one has 8 or 9 leaves above the ear, so a bump in above the ear leaf area of about 40% in comparison to a grain variety. You notice that all of these leaves are big leaves all the way up to here, so there's just tremendous amount of leaf area on a plant like this. The ear tips are covered on this on this particular variety. It's got a fairly low ear placement, which means a good stalk digestibility. It has big ear quantity on it. You see here where there's a bit of a space in the row. It went to 2 ears on an individual plant, and there where it's regular, it's got 1 big ear on the plant. This is a kind of one that we carry forward in our testing program, and the NIR on the chopper tells us the amount of starch that's in the variety, the amount of NDF. we get the digestibility of that NDF, and we get the moistures to be able to compare varieties of different maturities.
Leafies have been bred to have large ears. Unlike the ears of grain varieties, a leafy ear is composed of large kernels that dry slowly on large cobs. The kernels have lower test weight if taken to grain maturity because they are composed of more floury white starch and less vitreous starch. The large, moist, more floury kernels break into smaller pieces during harvest processing. This smaller particle size allows more sites of digestion for rumen microbes. Combined with higher kernel moisture, the silage can be economically fed right after fermentation.
In my selection for kernel density, the way that I do it is to look at the development of the kernel density as silage harvest is on and then as it matures. And so I look for the milk line on it to be, so this milk line is about 55 or even maybe 60%. Then I bite the kernel crossways to look at, number one, to feel with my teeth how soft it is, and number two, to look at the amount of vitreousness that there is in this. So this is a regular leafy, and you can see that it has a little vitreousness around the outside of the kernel, but very little, and it has a lot of floury starch. We try to have a variety that does not have such tremendous stay green, where the ear and the stalk come down at similar stages, so the dryness of the ear coming down slowly, the kernels coming down slowly, gives us a longer harvest window, but we still retain kernel softness by doing that.
We strive to make leafy hybrids that give best options for income over feed costs. We have taken the experience of dairy farmers, nutritionists, and nutrition researchers into consideration to match desired characters to the products we're developing. Leafy hybrids are the closest to ideal available today.